Okay, I see we're live, and yeah, today, Monday, start of the week, so let's just I want to continue with this Rust Axum production coding. Yeah, and just jump where we stopped. Yeah, somewhere at the writing tests. And yeah, let's move on. So let's open the project, and this is disk RC. And there is some test create okay.
Use, but that actually you can remove it. Doesn't really useful in this case because we already have it as a module. I always use super of stars, and then I like to use anyhow, such as I don't stress too much about errors. So now I have another snippet here to add to Tokyo test, and we're going to test create OK. So the convention that I like to have is I always prefix with test.
Yeah, actually, I maybe should write it as an idea to stream it. Set up templates in the new Vim. This part I still haven't done yet.
Underscore, that is optional, but I usually have the function that I'm creating, and then I add the suffix OK. And then if I have different tests on the same function, I'm going to say OK simple, for example, and OK double create, for example, to make sure that I can narrow to only one when I last. And then for the error, when the test needs to check if something failed, the convention that I follow is I put an error underscore something, or I just put an error. And right now, because we have only one test create, I'm going to do a test create underscore OK. Now that we have that, we're going to do the setup and fixtures, and for that, we're going to want to use our dev util, and it would be nice to be able to use something that will return a model manager. And right now, the init dev doesn't do that. So if we bring our init dev, we see that it doesn't return anything, which is what we want because we are calling it from main.rs, and we don't want to create an extra model manager. So what we're going to do is create another function, which is going to initialize.
So dev utils, yeah, let's move to dev. No, it's not dev utils. Dev. Or is it? Yeah, I think here. Okay.
Test environment. So we're going to have an async init test, and it's going to
No, it's init dev and no. Init dev. So init. Did I name it differently? Yeah, I think I don't know what's going on here, but definitely yes, is dev utils mod rs. Okay, let's rename it to init dev.
to return model manager.
And we do? Sync function init test, and we return what we returned here, model manager, which we use from model manager. Okay, and to do.
And now on this one, we're going to follow the same pattern here. We're going to have init, which in this case could be called instance, and then our get or init.
Okay, we used one cell here, and gonna do same, but with different type. We do model manager instead, so I guess we will do same get or init here.
Init that is going to call init dev and then call our model manager. New. And here again, I'm breaking the rule where I do an unwrap because this is just for unit test. So if it crash, it's better that it crash early than too late.
What we're actually doing here, so in there we create one instance and we initialize our DB. We recreate all the tables. All right. And then we create model manager. And Postgres pool. We created new pool here. In the store module. Okay. Basically DB connection. Okay. And struct which okay. Some struct which stores DB, and we return this DB. Okay, like model manager which has this. Okay,
Late, so it's completely fine. I don't have to over design it, but that returns a reference of model manager from the init. But
and we want to yeah. Yeah, no. Interesting.
But what we want is a model manager. So what we're going to do is AM clone. And that is
Okay, we do clone here.
That is completely fine because a model manager is built to be clonable, such as you can clone it and everything will be below arc, so a clone is acceptable. Now that we have that, we can go back and we
So I cannot see it from this code, but Jeremy said that under the hood it wrapped with arc and it's fine to clone it. So so far I'm supposed to trust him. Later on we of course should find out ourselves why we can do this.
we can have our dev utils, we import it, and
so we get in model manager, something like this.
and we're going to do init test await, and now we have our MM. And again, it doesn't fail because it will crash, which is fine, so we don't need the question mark. And here we're going to do the CTX, and we're going to have a root CTX. Okay, so what is the root CTX? So if we go into our CTX, right now it's very simple. Just have the user ID, and we have the constructor, which is actually constructors, and we have the root CTX, which is going to return a CTX with a user ID of 0. So that's going to be our root CTX. So
context and root context.
So rather to have another path for this code, what we do is we have the CTX having the concept of root that the system will use to make the calls that the system has to call. And then we have the new that would take the user ID, so that would be our auth, would create the CTX with new. And then in this case, we are making sure that the ID cannot be 0. With this design, we are intent driven. We know that when we're asking root CTX because we don't have a user, and then when we have a user, we know we can do new, but we cannot get the root CTX with a new. Now that we have that, we have our root CTX so we can make our call. We are going to have our fixture title. Now, one best practice that I follow is that
okay, let fixture title test grid. Okay,
is I prefix all of my fixtures with fx underscore. So this way we always see very quickly what is the fixtures or what is the value that we're getting back. And then the next practice that I follow is like to have the test create OK matching the function name. So that way it makes the things a little bit more unique, and I could actually add task as well to make sure that it doesn't conflict with other create unit tests. So now we can do our exec. For our exec, we are going to create our task C with the fixture title we had. There will be an argument here to say that the task underscore C is more a fixture than a value, but for now it's going to work fine. And then
task for create, task for create, and do title yeah.
And we are going to call our task create with our CTX and model manager and our task C. That will return the ID. And then for the check, we're going to
ID task BMC create so context model manager and task C, and then we do await, unwrap.
going to use SQLX, and we're going to do
And then query to check it in DB. Okay, let title type will be string. SQLX query is select title from task where ID okay, let's just query is select title from task where ID
to do a select from title from task. We have the ID, and we're going to bind it to ID, which is what we get there. And then we're going to do a fetch one, and we're going to get
so do fetch one. MMDB, so here we put our DB connection, Postgres pool, and do await.
to give our DB. We're going to do the await, and then we're going to make sure that the titles that we get from the
Okay, and we do assert equal. Macro, right? Yeah. And we compare title and fixture. Title, pretty straightforward.
from the query, match our fixture title. We're going to do some cleanup. So that is a whole debate about who is cleaning what when, but in Rust, this way works pretty well. And so we're going to do a delete from task where the ID is 1, and we're binding. So even when I do unit test, I actually bind, I do prepare statement, I don't construct fix select statement. So we're going to do execute, await, and then in SQLX, we have rows affected that return the count of how many rows were affected by this select. So
Okay, so let's do clean. Let count. So basically Skrillex query, not queries, right? Yeah, this time is query, and delete from task where id equal verbal execute db function call and then await question mark. Oh, and roles affected. Oh, and we forgot to bind ID.
And we're going to do another test, which is going to make sure that we deleted only one. That's
Another assert equal, and we do count 1 and did not delete one row.
in the previous episode.
Oh my god.
Do prepare statement.
I wanted to switch. Why it works like this? Why it's connected to the YouTube, not to the Spotify? It's so stupid.
I don't construct fixed select statement. So we're going to do execute, await, and then in SQLX we have rows affected that
macOS disconnect media buttons from Chrome. There is the fix open. Media key handling. So can I media case okay, we need to relaunch everything. Whatever, let's do it.
this way works.
So if I press now, yeah. Nice.
Pretty well. And so we're going to any rows pretty cheap to do anyway. Unit testing to stop the cargo run. This is one thing in our test. So we're going to bring our terminal. Make sure to stop the cargo run. This is one thing I've learned from before, is on Windows when you have the two running, it creates issues. So if you go to the README, you have a unit test section and we can do a cargo.
Okay, let's go to the README. Let's go. Oh, we actually don't need. We can use the README and a unit test can we go to the maybe like this, and I would like to copy to my readme. Also start in DB. Okay. Okay, the same. Oh, good. Specific test with filters. So test watch. Will it work like this? Let's try test watch. It's supposed to fail because my PostgreSDB isn't running, but I want to see what there will be there. No, it's not failing. Okay. Panicked and got result unwrap on error value. Store failed to create pool. Timeout. Okay, why it was so long? There is some timeout. Okay, let's run the Docker. Step number 1. Step number 2. PG Docker. Okay. Now running. Yeah, start status is running, and we can do test watch again. Error store file to create return from database, password authentication, failed for user. Let's quickly check if it's only on my end and there is no extra
Cargo test
config.
watch with a test that will allow us to do kind of a live reload testing. Actually, this is not really repo, it's more watch. And so we can do it this way, where we are very specific, or we can take that and we're going to add a little filter, which is going to be our test create OK. Usually what I'm doing to test only one by one, and I do the -- no capture to make sure that I have the println. And I'm going to show why later. And then when I do that, we have our test success. That is pretty cool. Now, one of the reasons why...
Okay, now I need to debug why our test is not running. So first of all, can I do simply cargo test? Yeah, much faster. Okay, nothing here. Let's see again. So cargo run. And actually, this is good point. Cargo run is working fine. And cargo test is now also working. And test watch is also working now. What did happen? I don't know. So I did run the app and then I guess appdb was created. Sorry. If we Okay, you see, it appeared, and now I don't think so. It's supposed to be unique. Let's take a look our migrations and so create schema. Okay, it said it's unique, but maybe it's a mistake. Let's check if it's also true here. Create scheme. Yeah, it's not unique, and this is a bug. So we can title varchar 256, not now, and this we just remove. But if we just rerun, so I want to check the logic. In main we do init def. The init test we do also init def, so it's supposed to work. Supposed to clean the table and everything. Actually. You see, it's not there anymore. And we can close it and do test now. And it works. I don't understand, it's something. But yeah, let's remove the clean and see if we can. Yeah, it still pass the test, and We can create another one. Yeah, duplicated title is not an issue anymore. This is good. Okay, let's move on. Still don't understand why in test it's not recreate the table, but
And why I have the dash dash no capture is because typically what I do is I do my debug print with my little characters, and then I can print title, for example. And that will run, and then when it's okay, then I do the assert. So often the assert is commented out, or I don't even have it, and then when I'm happy with the data, then I do the assert. That is a little bit my workflow. So my goal all the time is to try to have a workflow where my unit test is part of being lazy to write code faster. So there is one more thing that we need to do, and this is important to do it early, is this test create is testing a database that is getting reset and everything. But tests in cargo test are run in parallel, so it's very hard to synchronize them because you are not even sure if they are going to be in the same process and everything. It gets very tricky. And so one thing that I like to do for all of these tests that use external resources is to use a little library that we are going to add into our cargo to ML dev dependencies, which is serial test. So this one
serial test. Okay.
This one is pretty cool and very simple. You go to your test function and you just add this annotation. Then you make sure to import serial test serial. And that will make sure that everything that is annotated with this annotation will get executed serially. So now all our database tests can use that annotation to make sure that it doesn't work on each other. So that will obviously slow down unit testing, but they will make it much simpler. Now that we have that, and we're going to implement our get. And the same signature again, we're going to have our CTX and our model manager, but this time the argument will be the ID. We'll take an
Okay, so this is was create, and we'll do get, which will take sticks. Model manager. and ID, I guess, and idea is I64 as I remember, and result disk.
Like an ID, and it will return a result of task. So for that,
Let's actually try to do it ourselves. So let him db like this, then I'm not sure what we want to return, but skill x query s is fine, I think. Select okay, I'm not sure how to write this query. I haven't worked with MySQL for a while, and haven't worked with Postgres. Actually, I don't know, is it Postgres with MySQL difference? This means that in Postgres you can store data as object with properties. Objects are a common data type in many programming languages like Java and so on. Yeah, this is the topic, and Postgres crash course. Okay, maybe we should dedicate one of the stream and watch some at least short introduction video. I don't know, like this, or maybe this one, or this one, about the Postgres.
Very simple. We're going to have our DB, and then we're going to do our SQLX.
Okay, yeah, we do select everything. Task is from task is and where actually exactly what I think it should be. Then we do bind ID, fetch one, DB, and await, and okay, we can do just like this. Task, type task, and it is okay, right? Oh, cool. So I guess this is what SQLX do for us. So my guess, from here we had to have all fields from task, like ID and title, and otherwise it will fail. It's not so type safe, I guess, but yeah.
Select star from task where ID equal $1. And we're going to change that later to make it much more structured. Right now that works very well. And we're going to do a bind ID for this $1, obviously. And then we do a fetch optional, and that will return an option of task.
Oh,
the good
fetch optional.
The good news is we can do an await question mark, which will fail if there is a select error or a database error. But then because we have our fetch optional, that will return the option of task. So now we can transform it into an error of our application, of our model layer, which is going to be error entity not found. And we give
I don't have such error yet. So.
We're going to say that the entity name is a table name and then the ID. So that obviously is little implementation details of how you want to reference your entities, but the pattern here is very simple and very powerful. So again, the first question mark is going to fail if there's a problem with a select statement of the database. And then the second one is we're taking the option none, and we're making our own exception saying that by convention, a get always needs to return a task. And if it's not, it will return an entity not found. And then we can return OK task. Task. The error we haven't even imported it, so we're going to use the model error, and then the model error doesn't have entity not found. So for that, we're going to bring the model error, and on top, we're going to add entity not found with the entity, which is a
So entity static lifetime for string slice and ID. All right.
static string, and it's fine to be static in this case, and the ID. And all of that implements serialize because it's simple types, so the entity not found will get serialized very nicely. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to implement a new one, and that is going to be our delete for now. And for that, similar, we have our DB, we have our delete from task, where ID equal $1, we bind on the ID, and then we're going to execute a wait, and then we're going to get the row affected. So again, the same concept as before. When you delete something, the convention here that we're going to have in our API is that it must be there, otherwise it will return an error. We're going to
Okay, let's try again. Sync function delete. So ctx model manager ID I64 result so let db db let count clicks query and delete from task where ID bind ID execute as I remember, and we need to put db here. Oh wait, And draw, yeah. Rows affected. So let's check. Delete from taskbar ID. From taskbar ID. Yeah. Bind, execute, await, row affected. Okay. Okay. And I think this will be it for today. I have some urgent work at my work, at my job. Yeah. Urgent job at my work. Yeah. Something like this. So don't wanna stay longer and want to jump to execute what I need. Thank you for watching and most likely see you tomorrow.